Okay, so in this section we're going to implement the overlay effect when we hover over an image. Alright, so if we go to the final project and we hover over an image, you can see that that image info fades into place. Okay, we have the title and then just a description, background color, and I just have a faded out image of a magnifying glass. Alright, so what we're going to do is attach to each each image, some data attributes. I'm sorry, not the image, the list item. Okay, so we have each image surrounded in a list or a list item. So what we're going to do is go and put in data title, and then we'll also have we'll do data DESC for description. Okay, so let's see, project 1. And I'm just going to grab some text and paste it in here. Alright, and we're going to do this for all the list items. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to close this over here. Okay, CMS there. Whoops, we don't want that inside of the quote. Shoot. Okay, so now I'm going to change the title. I'm just going to do project 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I'm just going to leave the description the same for all of them. Okay, let me just make sure we didn't mess up anything here. Alright, so now that we have that info attached to each list item, now we're going to go into the JavaScript and create a click event. I'm sorry, not a click event, a mouse enter event. Alright, so we're going to use mouse enter and mouse leave. So you want to make sure you're still inside the document ready function. Alright, so it would be right here. And we're going to grab the UL gallery list item, and then we'll use on. Okay, so on mouse enter, we want to run a function. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get the data attribute values. Okay, so we'll create a new variable, call it title, and set it to this, meaning the one that's hovered or the mouse enter event happens. We'll say this dot children dot data title. Alright, so this data is just going to grab any attribute that has data in front of it, and then we put the end of it on in here. So data title will match data title. Alright, so let's also get the description. So I'm just going to copy this and variable DESC, and then we'll just change this to ESC. Okay, so now we have that content in these variables. Alright, so let's do, we need to figure out what we're going to do if the title and the description are not there. Okay, so if these aren't here, what do we want to do? For the title, we're just going to set it blank. All right, if there's no title here. If there's no description, I want to display the text click to enlarge. All right, so we'll just do some simple validation here. All right, so we'll say if description is equal to nothing, is equal to null, then description is going to equal click to enlarge. Okay, so if title is equal to null, then we're just going to set title is equal to nothing. Okay, now the next thing, we need to create a div to insert this title and description into. And rather than manually putting in an overlay div after or in the list item, we're going to create it with jQuery. Okay, so create overlay div. Okay, so what we have to do is we're going to use append. So whatever image is hovered or mouse entered, we're going to say append, and we want to append a div with the class of overlay. And then we want to get the overlay div. So variable overlay is equal to this dot children dot overlay. All right, now what we want to do with this is insert something into it. All right, so say add HTML to overlay, and we're going to use the .html method. And what we're going to put in here is we'll put an h3 first of all, and I want to concatenate onto that the title, and then we'll have a paragraph, and we're going to concatenate the description. Okay, and finally we want to fade in the overlay. And we'll use fade in. And let's make the speed 800. Alright, so let's try this out. Alright, so it looks like it's working, but we don't have a mouse leave event, so they're all just staying like that. And also we haven't styled it at all. So let's go ahead and do the mouse leave event. So you want to go outside of the mouse enter event, but you want to stay within the document ready function. So we want to go right here. Mouse leave overlay. Let's put a comment here as well. Alright, so we're going to do pretty much, it's going to be very similar. Okay, we want to get the UL with the ID of gallery list item. And we're going to say dot on. And this time we want to say mouse leave. And we're going to run a function. Whoops. Alright, so when we leave, we're going to create an overlay div again. So I'm actually going to copy this up here. I want grab this and this. Alright, and then I simply want to fade it out. And we'll do 500 here. Okay, so let's see what that does. Alright, so it's working, but the CSS it needs to be done. Because right now the overlay is just getting put in there. It's not positioned. We need to position it absolute. We need to set the width and things like that. So let's go to our CSS. And let's see, what do we want to do? Let's go down under the footer and create an overlay style sheet. And first thing we want to do here is make sure that it's display none, okay, when the page loads. Background, we're going to make this that greenish color, which is 03899C. And we need a number sign here. And we're also going to add the image to the background, that magnifying glass. I think we brought it over already. Yeah, it's right here. Alright, so after this we just want to say URL. It's going to be no repeat, and we want top center img slash, the image is called overlay.png. Alright, so next, the color of the text should be white. We want to position this absolute. We want it to go right over the image. And I'm going to set it to top 0 and left 0. And then the Z index, I'm going to bring that up so that make sure it goes over the image. I'm going to make that 100. The width should be 100%, and so should the height. Let's give it some padding for the text of 20 pixels and a border radius. Border radius 5 pixels. And box sizing, we want box border. And then finally, we want to set pointer events to none. And pointer events to none, what this is going to do is we're going to have a light box. In the next video, we'll implement a light box when we click on it. But initially, when you hover over it and this div covers it, it's going to cover the link as well for the image. So when we click it, it's not going to do anything. Having this here, pointer events none, lets us basically click right through it onto the image under it. Alright, so that's what this does. Alright, so let's style, not really style, let's zero out the margin and padding on the heading. So overlay H3, 0, 0. Alright, let's see what this looks like. It should look like that. Alright, so it's too big. I'm not sure why. It's also not bringing in the variables, the content from the data. So something's not right. Alright, well, I see the sizing issue. Box sizing, this should be border box, not box border. Alright, because without this, we're adding the 20 pixels padding to the width and height, so it's going to make it bigger. Okay, so that should fix that. Alright, so that's good. The image is showing. So now something's up with our data, our text, coming from our data attributes here. So data title, data description. And I know the problem. What the problem is, these should actually be in the link, not the list item. Okay, so data title and data description, we need to remove them from the list item and put them with the link. Okay, so after this href. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video and move all these. Alright, so I've moved the data attributes off the list item and onto the link, to the A tag. So let's try that out. And now it's working. Alright, so if we don't have, for project 1, let's say we don't have the data title or the description attached. Okay, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, so you can see now it just says click to enlarge. Alright, I'm going to put that back. So that's it for the overlay. In the next video, we'll go ahead and implement the fancy box script so that we can actually click on an image and have it open bigger in a light box.